Hey, good morning. How are we doing?
Good.
Alright, cool. Just checking the sound. Looks like it's coming in here. So we are good to roll. Man, it's been quite the evening session. So welcome everyone. Hope we're doing okay. Hope you're able to get off at least one trade last night. But there's probably been 3, 4, maybe 5 setups in the evening session. For me, I took a trade last night, but ultimately the runners trailed out, so I find myself flat here this morning. How about you? What's your position?
Yeah, flat. I mean, I think unless anyone was awake to trade the 6873 failed breakdown, I don't think anyone's going to have a position on from overnight. Unless you've now tried to engage in something here this morning. So just one of those unfortunate things where the real failed breakdown that runs the distance, unfortunately, is in the middle of the night. So unless you're in a different time zone or you're awake for it, it's just hard to capture that.
Yeah, yeah. So just real quick before I bring up the charts, then been a couple of tweets out from Adam. I think he tweeted 69.35 was a potential as well, which has maybe just played. I wasn't really interested in that personally, but there have also been a bit more communication around sort of, there won't be any quality setups for a while here, so I think that's kind of the theme for the morning session here. But let's see if we get a burst of volatility that could change pretty quick. So we kind of got I'll let you guys go through the front page there on your own to see the lay of the land, where we are in the prior day's ranges, the news. Not much on the news front. Palantir after earnings. Don't expect that to be a market mover, but I'm a Palantir fanboy, so that's interesting for me. And obviously the big active setup was the prior week's low at 68.79, and then all of the levels above that really, but 68.79 was the low that we set last Sunday, so a full week ago, that we flushed last night, sort of around midnight, and recovered. Wasn't actually on the trade plan, but I think that was just a case of he'd already had so many levels in there. He tweeted out responded to someone asking why it wasn't in the trade plan, and it's just still a perfectly valid setup. Prior week's low is almost always going to be. So, okay, so let's take a quick look at the chart. I think first thing to note really is for all the action we've had, massive overnight range, 100-point range. We're back right at the middle of our sort of short-term range, which is 69.20 support and 69.88, and right at the middle of the range is always a trickier place to trade for sure. So for me, let's walk through some scenarios here. How do you feel about let's say we push on if we push up off the open, are you interested in any of these kind of add-on strength levels? There's the 52, but probably the 70 is the main one above.
Yeah, so let's definitely discuss it from the perspective that both of us are flat, and I imagine that most people here are flat, right? Unless you might have been up really early to take the 69.20 failed breakdown prior to 7 a.m. Yeah, tricky. Um, this is unfortunately just one of those spots where some of the trade ideas you would have liked to be a part of have kind of now already played out, and we're now damn near 80 points off the lows.
Mm-hmm.
It's and we haven't really had the best sell reaction. Like they've been really minor, and just bigger picture time frame. Bears are really going to fumble this if buyers are able to actually sustain reclaiming this range again, which really is an unfortunate fumble here by bears letting this happen if we do sustain and reclaim it. So, for me now, currently my mindset is one, definitely do not engage in something that's low quality just
Hmm.
because you feel FOMO, right? You got to first get that thought out of your head that, okay, I woke up and this failed breakdown, we're up 80 points. Like, oh my God, I got to get some points in. Like, if you're going to have that mindset, you're going to end up taking something that's not going to work and you're going to lose. So, that's the number one thing I think is to check yourself at the front door, making sure that that's not the mindset you're in. Hopefully, if everyone did take something last evening, you're at least somewhat small green, right? Even though those runners trailed out, hopefully, like, you've already technically taken something, you're small green, potentially already should be in profit protection then at that point. So now I'm kind of looking at, okay, let's say we open up here in RTH, we start getting some movement, some volatility. We have this little dip below at 69.15. I am kind of eyeing that potentially as a mini failed breakdown. Not the best of best quality because it's a little bit of a dip below. It's not unnecessarily a um the strong point of where we started the structure bounce, but it is a V-shaped small low. So that is kind of the first area down I'm watching. Potentially we have these two lows at 69.30. I would like to see a little bit more of a push off of it before, I take that into consideration. But the 69.30 to 35 spot could be an area if we push up a little bit more on the open to watch out for. And then obviously, the highest quality thing, of course, would be if we get the failed breakdown of the overnight low at 68.65. So those are kind of the few things I'm watching. And we'll kind of see what we get out of those three. I would like to see some sort of sell, whether it be down to 69.30 or 69.15, at least at the minimum, and see if we can put in some good acceptance there. And if bulls really are back in control, then they'll be able to hold one of those areas and get us back up again.
Mm. Yeah, if I can just add to that, I mean, at this point, 30, that little 30, 35 shelf doesn't interest me, but if we were to push up, maybe reject off 70, flush that little shelf, hold 20 and come back, that could be something. But that's, yeah, a lot of work to do before we get to that point. I think the immediate one that interests me um, is the 20 level. If we flush 15, for you, would you trade 15 direct or would you wait for the cluster of lows here that we've kind of got around 18 and 20 to recover?
Yeah. I think waiting for that is fine.
Yes, I think that's what I would be interested in. I think the main caution there is like it's just a heavily used up level now that we put in, kind of a micro failed breakdown of last night and then a pretty significant one of today. So yeah, it starts to get a little bit tired. Beneath that, I think I'll watch this 68.99 level too. Maybe if we can flush beneath the London low here and recover like this high here at 68. Well, it's basically 6,900. That's one potential spot. And then, like you said already, 68, 64. It would be a big one below. So those are kind of the three I'll be watching: 20, the century figure, and 64. But I don't think either of those are going to hit for a good minute. So we'll just sit back, see what the open brings, and hopefully we get some volatility. I mean, it could be, for me, it could be waiting for the last half hour of the day here at this point. Definitely not going to force anything in the middle of this. It's kind of this pretty tight range between 20 and 70 now. So yeah, that's it for me.
Yeah, definitely. Just a bit unfortunate, right? Whenever we get that massive failed breakdown overnight and then you just wake up. I mean, it's one thing to wake up and, it's only maybe 10, 15 points off the lows and potentially you could just add because there's an active failed breakdown. It's another thing when you wake up and we're, 50, 60 points off of it. I mean, that just ends up being a really tough scenario to be in.
Absolutely. Okay. Um, One of the question in the chat was just asking what you monitor for watching acceptance. For me, it's mostly the 15-minute, and then I also use a 20 range chart. But lower time frames can be helpful, especially when you're like timing the non-acceptance protocol. Just like that system where we're trying to wait for it to hold at least 5 points above the low for a bit minimum of 2 minutes. So going down to a lower time frame can be helpful for that one for sure. Wait for at least one bar to close above that. Close and hold for its duration above that danger zone. Are you exclusively on the 15-minute? Do you use anything else?
So my default workspace, if I'm not in a trade, stays in the 45 minute, just so I can view all the structures and things like that. And then if we start getting near a failed breakdown level, I will zoom into a 15 minute.
Okay.
And then for execution, it depends on the volatility state. So if volatility is really high, I will go down to a 5 minute. And I have occasionally, I don't necessarily love to admit it, but there have been some occasions where, we've been in extreme volatility. Then I will even try to watch it on a 2 minute chart. Sometimes the acceptance, just because if things are really moving, quite fast, sometimes it can be a little easier to watch it on there. But if volatility is quite mild, then I mean, I think a 15 minute is fine. But I think ultimately it just comes down to where time frames are arbitrary in the sense of wherever you can best see the price action, and whatever works for you works for you. So I don't think there's any right or wrong answer on that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, in the group, I think there's a whole range of different time frames people use. 45 minutes, huh? That's a special one.
That's the Adam special. It's the
Yeah,
Adam
you are.
special. That's what I remember. This was like a while ago. He'd said that he just spends most of the day on the 45.
I
So I
remember
had to add
seeing that
that.
too, and I was
And I
like,
was like,
"What?"
all right, I guess I'm on the 45. But honestly, there is some magic to it. I do actually like the way things look like because I think he said the reason he likes it, and I think that's the reason I've started to like it too. Um, it is a really nice hybrid between seeing a lot of the higher structures on your chart as well as kind of seeing the
Mhm.
intraday action. Like it's a good little hybrid of, you kind of get to see the best of both worlds. So it is actually kind of nice. He
Okay.
might be onto something with that.
Yeah. Cool. All right, guys. Well, we'll sit tight here. Probably gonna be quiet in the Discord, I imagine, this morning until something happens. But yeah, we'll see. We will catch you in the next one. Thanks, everyone. Bye for now.